Jonathan Turley, do you agree with the point that he was making that Trump might be eager to state his case in that courtroom?
Well, I think he's eager to state the case. I don't think he will be eager to take the stand. That is a very high-risk proposition for any defendant, even in a civil case, and certainly one who's running for the presidency. I mean, the optics of this case work to his advantage, and I think that some of the merits do. I think that the fact that they're not alleging that people lost money here, the question about the value of mar-a-lago, those are the types of arguments that do resonate with people. They can understand that. And many people will be wondering why you have this huge production when nobody actually lost money, and that's largely because of this New York law, which ironically was pushed through by Jacob Javits, who became the Republican senator from New York when he was holding the position that James is holding now. But in many respects, this case has everything Trump wants to concentrate the mind of the public. You've got an attorney general who ran on bagging Donald Trump, was not concerned about what she would find or what she would charge on. She ran with the pledge that she would get Donald Trump. You've got a case in which there's no indication that money was lost, where you don't have the victims as the banks, for example. The optics here are really good for Trump, and he knows it. And even the image of his being brought into yet another New York courtroom leaves this impression of prosecutors daisy-chaining cases to keep him in court rather than being on the campaign trail. Now, having said that, I still can't believe that he's really going to go from soup to nuts on this case, because it's going to be a lot of time in a courtroom for a guy who's running for the presidency.
So to your point, Jonathan, the Judge Engoron, has already determined that he committed a crime, fraud. But if the judge, through the course of this trial, also determines that Trump is correct, that the banks feel they were not defrauded, all the loans were paid back on time with the requisite interest payments, that it is essentially a victimless crime, what does he do with that? What does that translate to in terms of a ruling here?
Well, I think there's a very strong argument here that barring Trump from doing business in New York would be a serious overkill unless you can show those types of injuries. There's no question that the law is written broadly, but this is where the lack or the alleged lack of victims plays a big role when you're looking at what the consequences of the alleged fraud might be. And so I think that he has a good argument there. The other question is really and I think that John was right about this, that a lot of the witnesses they're going to call are going to be fairly strong for Trump. The prosecutors are just going to show over and over again that this valuation was too high and they have objective reasons for it. But Trump's team is going to be hammering away at the fact that these are figures that are meant to be taken with a grain of salt. But keep in mind, the judge doesn't like that argument and has already come down on the lawyers. So you could see some fireworks in that courtroom as Trump's lawyers try again to raise this issue, that there was this clause that said you shouldn't put any weight on this. You should do your own due diligence. The judge has shown little patience with that argument.
Sir, terrific. Thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.